DC's new Superman is meeting the most tragic version of his father. The new Superman, Kal-El's son Jon Kent, is journeying to the world of injustice, where he will meet the most tragic version of his father. The mantle of Superman has become a family affair, being split between Clark Kent and his son Jon. The latter is receiving a new title in Adventures of Superman, which is written by Tom Taylor, who handled his previous book, and will be drawn by Clayton Henry. Taylor also wrote the comic books for the Injustice video games, which will finally be colliding with the mainstream DC universe in a major way. In his newest series, Jon Kent's Superman will be going to the universe of Injustice, which is far different from his own. There, he'll meet a Man of Steel who's far from the hero he is in the mainstream comics. The meeting of father and son will likely result in one of the most tragic Superman stories ever, namely by introducing the regime's Superman to the son he never had. The Injustice Superman was DC's darkest Man of Steel, introduced in the video game of the same name. The Superman of the Injustice universe was undone by one tragic event. Much of his life resembled the normal status quo for the Man of Steel, albeit featuring a Lex Luthor who was never villainous and instead Superman's friend. Things all changed when the Joker's machinations manipulated Superman into hallucinating and thinking that his pregnant wife Lois was actually the villainous Doomsday, all while much of Metropolis was destroyed by a nuclear detonation. In response, Superman finally did what Batman couldn't morally do and killed the Joker. He would then take action afterward, turning him into a dictator who wished to rule humanity, who he saw as unable to govern themselves, forming a regime alongside other metahumans. The reign of Superman would rampage the Earth. Even though opposing sides, mostly led by Batman, would come to blows with the Man of Steel, the world as a whole would never be the same. The immoral Kryptonian would even seek to take his violent crusade to other worlds. He would thankfully be stopped by his more heroic counterpart, though things could turn out differently when he faces a heroic Superman's progeny. Injustice's Superman meeting Jon Kent is the ultimate tragedy. As mentioned, Lois was pregnant when the Joker tricked Superman into killing her, meaning that Superman's son Jon Kent was never born in the Injustice universe. Jon was introduced around the DC Rebirth era in a miniseries right beforehand. Since then, he's been a fan favorite, namely his younger, more impetuous incarnation. In the past few years, Jon has aged and taken on the role of Superman when his father was away on Warworld. Injustice Superman is very much haunted by what happened to Lois, but seeing a son from another universe would be the ultimate loss. Not only does Jon represent the family he never had with Lois, but he also showcases the heroism that the darkened Superman used to represent. Thus, he's the living embodiment of everything he's lost. Jon may also come away wanting to be by his father's side more than ever, especially with his only recently returning from Warworld. This way, the true Superman would retain the wide family that the Injustice version never had, hopefully preventing him from becoming such a villain. He might even try to change and help the lost Man of Steel, restoring some bit of hope that once filled his heart. He'll likely fail, however, cementing the destruction of truth and justice and a potentially better tomorrow.